There's always a potash within the oasis, and the people harness it in bags and take to the market outside their areas and get an income. Now, what is happening? Maybe because of climate change, maybe because of changing times, but whatever the situation is, there is a desert encroachment which is threatening most of the communities in these areas, and the people are moving, and the desert is covering most of the oasis like it is doing like this.
Initially, this place, this oasis, is an active oasis. You know, oasis classified into three: web, active oasis, semi-active oasis, and dead oasis. Because of these other encouragements, gradually the fertility and productivity of the soil has been declines, and the yield at the end of their harvest is low. They cannot support them to survive. So as such, most of this community, major of the community has been identified or classified by the community as poor and vulnerable households. They don't have source of living.
There are little or no activity around the oasis now. Amazingly, even the potash content has lost its bite. You cannot market it. The oases are, however, a place of beauty. Tall palm trees are a feature of it. But think of beauty without resource, whatever that suggests. In context of their peculiar situation, communities around dead oases in Yobe State are part of the design by Yesu to develop a register of the poor and vulnerable among them. Tulu Tulu is a picture of desert. It is a Lake territory. There are tens of communities in northern Yobe whose settlements are ceded to the desert. They cease to exist again. Tulu Tulu is still on its feet. Over the years, I have been to various environments. I have been to water environments and land environments. But this is the first time I'm coming to desert environment in Yobe State. Desert, covering virtually all area of the places. Don't mind some of the vegetation cover. The desert here is real. But then, on a serious issue, more than 75% of the communities or of the villages in Yobe State are classified as poor and vulnerable. You know why? It is because of the effect of environments like this one, the desert environment. The desert has consumed so many communities and so many people and livelihoods, so much so that scarcely many of the people have means by which they can get they can make their day-to-day living. Serious if you ask me. The story generally is, these are the social and economic conditions that are influencing the definition of the poor and the vulnerable in Yobe State to the recognition of them being registered and rich with the support. There are actually procedures that he also puts in place for geographical targeting and community-based targeting of the poor and the vulnerable. This includes how local government areas are identified according to their poverty ranking and based on approved poverty mapping analysis by the state government. Alhaji Bukari Kilo has been at the center of all current efforts to do a proper mapping of the poor and the vulnerable in the state. His office does the coordination and strengthening of the social safety net systems.
He also has three components. We have public welfare implementation components. We have targeted transfer components. Targeted grant transfer is mainly dealing with IDPs in the northeastern state, while public welfare implementation is unemployed youth, those being identified by the communities. So presently, the mandate of State Operation Coordinating Unit is to establish the register of poor and vulnerable households in Yobe State and serve as a custodian of that data.
The procedure adopted by Yesu to come up with the register of the poor is definitely laborious and different. Even so, it has to go through verification procedures.
If we compile the register, we'll send it to the World Bank. Then World Bank validate the register. If they clear the register, then we'll send the register to National Social Safety Net Coordinating Office. It is there in the villa. From there, National Social Security Authority, they integrate our register into the National Register of Poor and Vulnerable Household for the country.
Yobe State has 17 local government areas. Years of activities started under a year ago. So far, however, it has been able to build a verified register of the poor and the vulnerable households in 6 local government areas of the state. Already, the World Bank and some support organizations are mining that register to provide support to the people so identified.
Currently now, we have 31,830 cleared register by World Bank for poor and vulnerable household, which is almost equal to 165,399 individuals. So out of this register, National Cash Transfer went and mined 24,000 beneficiaries, while Public Welfare Company, they mine 2,000 beneficiaries and they validate, enroll and paid 1,925.
So this group, they have been identified and money has been made available to them.
Money has been made available to them.
It is not support amorphous, however. Even as individuals are identified as poor and vulnerable, a certain responsibility is required of them to benefit from the intervention in most cases. The people of Gaidam local government area have seen the worst of insurgency. This was a traumatic experience of migration, lost livelihoods, and blockade of general economic endeavor. It happened that the National Cash Transfer Office mined 24,000 beneficiaries from the Unified Single Register for Yobe. In Gaidam, 183 male and 115 female identified as poor and vulnerable are now receiving monthly stipends of 7,500 naira monthly. The demand on them is to do a sanitation of their environment. Gaidam in Yobe State is definitely one of the local governments in the state that is benefiting from the intervention that was provided by Yesu. From the effort they have been able to do over time, a number of people are benefiting. This is part of the people that are benefiting from that kind of intervention. It is not one, there are several, there are multiple, but it is a way forward in which people will come out of their poverty.
Now we establish 31,000 households, which is cleared by the World Bank across the 6 local government in area of Yobe State. Out of these 31,000 households, so Gaidam local governments mine public welfare implementation components mine 3,018 poor and vulnerable households in that data. So these 313 households are the beneficiaries of that public welfare implementation.
The local government is being supported by this program, and one of them is this one, which is giving about 345 people from villages across the local government and within the local government social support of monthly stipend.
Many of the beneficiaries are just too happy they are receiving income where before they have none. In Gaidam, apart from sweeping of environment, the beneficiaries do drainage clearing as well, and multiple other public service functions. This kind of intervention is under a public workforce component of Yesu, which seeks to provide immediate labor income to unemployed youth. The amount, stiffened as it is, has nonetheless changed the life of many beneficiaries. In Budua, Jakusko local government area, this beneficiary under the public welfare component has a story. Now we have a story, a case like this man. He is from Budua in Jakusko local government area of Yobe State. He is a beneficiary from the public welfare. He gets 7,500 and they have paid him 3 times. Now, together they were able to do contributions, adashi in Hausa. Out of the contribution he collected, and what does he with the money? Now, he is a merchant of chickens. He buys chicken, he takes them to market and he sells. What he told me, even if the thing stops today, at least he has a capital to start business on his own, where before he hadn't that kind of opportunity.
Working capital, we decided on a monthly contribution and I collected 10,000 naira. I was cycling the money in my poultry business. Now, every day, I earn 2,000 to 3,000 naira from the business.
There is the unique story of this disabled young man too in Budia. His is a quarterly 20,000 naira grant under special grant transfer. With first installments he gets, he built a battery charging outlet in his community. He now gets enough patronage. He is now thinking of going back to school. He's thinking of marriage, and he's thinking of doing more at the farms.
We are most grateful for this intervention. We never thought it would happen, but here it is. 3 of us were captured, but I am the only beneficiary. I wasn't into any definite endeavor, but when this assistance arrived,
These are only part of the story of the public work fair in Yobe. The feedback has been wonderful. Over 20 rural communities in 6 local government areas of Yobe are direct beneficiaries and are telling stories of improved livelihoods.
I am a forest guard, stopping people from depleting the forest through illegal cutting of trees. The assistance is supporting me to concentrate on my work and on my agriculture.
In Yobe State, Gujiba local government area is coming out of the mayhem of insurgency too. In this area, hundreds of the elderly and disabled persons are receiving 20,000 naira quarterly to mitigate their vulnerability. It is a component of target grant transfer. Many of them have no source of income before. Many are too old to be income earners. The intervention they receive is making a huge difference in their lives. That is the case of Buniyadi. And these elderly people are some of the community that are benefiting. You can fancy what a difference 20,000 naira can make on the lives of these people. They may not be doing anything, but definitely they have families. Not only when we say family, or really dependents. And even so, they need to do a lot of activities that will really ginger their own lives, despite the fact that they are elderly. So they are beneficiaries.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
We are happy. We are happy. Before the arrival of this intervention, I only go out to beg. Now I beg no more. We are happy.
I particularly enjoy the story this disabled person tells me. He too begins a new life as cell phone battery charger, while before he does nothing. And today he can look to the future with hope. Hope of a better tomorrow.
Na'am.
Yanzu ruwan ciri ban sai buhun masara da auna kyamen zuba na au. Wannan rigar jikin na ma da wannan kudin ne.
Sai ga ta.
Tunda da ruwa da rike duwa hirin ma na manta. Baratta. Tunda in wani kaya ne zan saya ma na gyaran sai na je na karbo a gurin wani. In zo in yi aikin sallame in kai mar kudin sa. Amma yanzu yan kanan abubuwa dai na saya da wannan kudin. Ina juyawa.
Perhaps no one is more happy with the intervention to this group than the community head of Buniyadi himself.
If they didn't have that 20,000, sometimes some elders people and disabled people, they are coming to give me some complaints about the poverty. And if I have it, I will just help them with some.
People are not asking now, at least they are happy now.
No, now they are happy. They didn't come and give me some complaints in order to help them.
Many of the disabled and the elderly I met in Buniyadi walk the street strong. It is a new lifeline that is reassuring them. In fact, the implementation of intervention to the verified poor and vulnerable in Yobe State is giving major stakeholders cause for optimism.
USO is one of the World Bank assisted programs in the state. We have several of them in the state, and USO is one of them. And the program is one of the best now in the country as far as the implementation of the program in Yobe is concerned. We have been given as one of the best programs by the World Bank in the recent assessment made in most of the World Bank programs in the state. It's not only in USO, but all other program intervention by the federal government and the USO program. Yobe became the best, and we got the award from the World Bank. So Yobe USO has been doing extremely well.
Yobe, they expressed interest late. but somehow they were able to come on board. Okay, it is not too late because they are driven by very committed staff, very dedicated staff, and luckily a lot of their staff have had other donor program experience. I think that is what is behind the success in Yobe State. In fact, it's one of our front-running states because of the cream of officers they have. And to top it all is the fact that they now have a governor who, upon resumption, have embraced, have expressed passion and desire to really support the poor and these vulnerable people in his communities.
To avoid confusion of the actual persons captured or the dereliction of duty, every beneficiary has an identity card. Grants and labor attendance is also backed up by a verified register upon which an individual was confirmed. Critically, however, is the issue of monitoring of grants and what the beneficiaries do differently with them.
Sometimes I used to constitute a team to go for quality assurance monitoring. We used to go with the harmonized list of the poor and vulnerable household to compare with those people who have been captured in the register.
Yes, so is still working towards allowing communities across the state identify who they believe is poor and vulnerable, and they provide the necessary enabling environment for that to happen. Time is against it, however. It begins only this year in Yobe, and it winds up June next year. It is such a short time for a system that works.
We had a meeting of recent with His Excellency, the Executive Governor, Honorable Malabuni, with the World Bank Country representative. The World Bank Country representative even advised that the structure we have established in terms of USO should not be dismantled, that the Yobe State government should take over the responsibility pending the additional support we will get from the World Bank. And His Excellency has promised that he's going to support the program. He will continue with the program.
Other than extension of USO time limit, there are the germane issues that many people and households fit the definition of the poor and the vulnerable, but they are only yet to be captured or receive intervention. In many areas, hundreds come out in the belief that they are in the intervention system too.
You know, the USO program is a complementary program to the federal government NASCO program, the National Social Intervention Program of NASCO. So that program, together with the USO program, will be able to cover the whole of the state.
Another critical issue is improving the life of desert dwellers in terms of access, provision of social amenities, and alternative means of livelihood, which in respect is beyond the mandate of USO.
The road, you will find that between Yusufari to Yunusari was not there. The previous administration constructed that particular road. There has been an intention to extend that, we call it Trans-Sahel road, run up to Machina, Suru, Kumaganam, in that area. And it is part of the plan of the state government to construct that road.
Apart from that, security too is a challenge. Yes, so for Yobe, we have said wherever you have to reach, if it is safe for you to go. If it is not safe, we don't encourage, because life first.
There is growing optimism that in Yobe State today, the state and federal government are towing workable paths of reducing poverty. It works, but it definitely is not enough. But of course, Yobe has a beautiful story to tell.
I'm Deputy Comptroller of Customs Joseph Atta, the spokesman for the joint security exercise. Over a period of time, either through indifference or deliberate non-compliance to the ECOWAS protocol on transit of goods by our neighbors, the Nigerian Customs Service have been raising this issue. MOUs were signed severally they were broken as soon as they were signed. We've seized over 32,050 kg bags of rice, and that is a huge impact. And then the fact that the coming in of this foreign rice have been completely shut down. We've gone around, we've received testimonies of farmers who, before now, found it difficult to sell one truck on a market day. These people say it now that those who could not sell one can now sell up to 20 trucks.
When we have love, we'll be able to unite, irrespective of tribe, religion, and culture. So we keep preaching on love. That is the only binding force. Let us